In this video, we're going to learn about percentages. This is the last video in Unit 4. By now, we have a general idea about percentage, fraction, and decimals altogether, but this specific video will help you understand how to move between decimals and percentages or percentages and fractions and solve real problems using percentages. So let's get into it. What is a percentage? So a percentage means out of 100, and the symbol is the percentage symbol. What do they mean out of 100? Well, if you have 50%, this is the same as saying 50 over 100, and then we can simplify it. 0, 0, 5 into itself is 1, 5 into 10 is 2. So that is 50%, which is 50 over 100, is 1/2. And in decimal form, 50% is just 0.5. So you see that 50% is equal to 1/2, which is also equal to 0.5. This is what we will focus on in this video. How to go from percentage to fraction, percentage to decimal, and vice versa. How about 25%? How can we convert this into a fraction? Well, we'll do the same thing. 25% means 25 out of 100. And if we do simplified, 25 into itself is 1, 25 into 100 is 4. And that is our answer in a fraction form. Now we want to go from percentage to decimal, not to fraction, but percentage to decimal. So what do? We have to move the decimal point 2 places left. So let's try it with this question here. Let's convert 75% into a decimal. So if we're moving the decimal point 2 places left, then originally the decimal point is right at the end. If we move it 2 places left, would be 1, 2. So your answer would be 0.75. That would be percentage in decimal. How about 40%? Well, decimal is there, 1, 2. So that's equal to 0. That would be your decimal. How about 125% into decimal? By now, you should have gotten the pattern. So it's 125, the decimal point right at the end, 1, 2. So that's equal to 1.25. And that would be your answer. The next thing is converting a decimal to percent. So how would we do that? Well, remember, from percent to a decimal, we moved the decimal point 2 places to the left. Now, if we're going to go from decimal to percent, we're going to move it 2 decimal points to the right instead. And this time we're going to add a percent sign. So after doing all that, we have to add percent sign. So let's give it a try. If we have 0.6 and we want to change it into percent, we're going to move it 2 decimal points to the right. So 1, 2 point here, that's 60. That would be 60%, or about 0.35, 2 decimal points, 1, 2 to the right. So that would be 35 and the percent sign. How about 1.2? 2 decimal points to the right, so 1, 2, so we would have 120%. The last one would be converting 0.085 into percent. Well, we're going to move it 2 decimal points to the right, so and would have 8.5%, and that would be our answer. Now, how do we go from a fraction to a percent? Well, the rule here is we first have to convert the fraction into a decimal and then convert the decimal into a percent. Here's an example. If we have 3 over 4, let's first convert the fraction to a decimal. 4 into 3, 0 point, and add a 0 there. 4 into 30 goes 7 times, remainder 2, and then 4 into 20 is 5. So now we have our decimal as 0.75. And remember, if we're going from a decimal to a percent, then we would have to move the decimal point 2 decimal points to the right. So we'll have 1, 2 right over there, which would be 75, and then we add the percent sign. That would be your answer. Here's the next question. Let's convert 1 over 5 to percent. Well, first things first, fraction into a decimal. So 5 into 1, that's 0. 5 into 10 is 2. That's 0.2. Now, if it's 0.2 from a decimal to a percent, we're going to move it 2 decimal places to the right. So that's 20. So that would be 20%. How about 7 over 8? If we have to convert 7 over 8 into percent, again, fraction into a decimal first. So 8 into 7 is 0.8 into 70 goes 8 times, remainder 6. 8 into 60 goes 7 times, remainder 4. It's 40. 8 into 40 is 5. So our decimal would be 0.875, and we're going to move it 2 decimal points to the right. So 1, 2. Our answer would be 87.5%. So the next thing we're going to look at is finding percent of a number. And the only rule we have here is to replace the of with a multiplication sign. So that's all we're going to do. Just replace of with multiplication. So how do we solve it? Let's change this percent into a fraction. So we 25 over 100, and we know 25 goes into itself once and goes into 100 4 times. So we have 1 over 4 times 80, which is the same as saying 80 divided by 4. How many times does 4 go into 8? Well, 4 goes into 8 twice. So that would be 2, 0. And your answer would be 20. The next question is to find 10% of 250. So give this a try and let's see if you're able to solve it. Okay, so now let's solve it. Change the percent into a fraction. So that would be 10 divided by 100, which is just equal to 1 over 10. And then we're going to do 1 over 10 times 250. So we changed this 10% into a fraction and then multiplied the fraction by 250. Well, that's the same as having 250 over 10, and we can cancel the zeros. So that is just equal to 25. That would be your answer. Now, here's another question I would like you to try. Let me know if you get the right answer. Now let's solve it. 40 divided by 100. We simplify this. Well, 2 goes into 4 twice. 2 goes into 10 5 times. And now we have 2 over 5 multiplied by 150. So this is the same as having 2 times 150 divided by 5. 5 can go into 15 3 times. 5 there, 1. 5 into 15 is 3. So we have 30 times 2. 2 times 30, which gives us our answer as 60. Okay, here's another question. A shirt costs $80 and is on sale for 25%. What is the discount? So all they're asking us is to find 25% of 80. Oh, we know how to solve this. We know, let's change the percentage into a fraction. So we have 25 divided by 100, which is equal to 25 into itself is 1. 25 into 100 is 4. So we have 1 over 4 times 80, which gives us $20 as the discount. And if we want to know what the price is of the shirt now, that would be, because it's a discount, meaning it'll be less, right? So it'll be $80 minus $20, and that would give us $60. That would be your answer. Here's another example. So if your salary is $500 and then it's increased by 10%, what is your new salary? So let's try and solve it. Basically, we want to find what 10% of 500 is. 10 over 100, which is just 1 over 10. So if we say 1 over 10 times 500, that's equal to 500 over 10, which is equal to 50. So 10% is $50. And your new salary, because it's increased by 10%, would be 500 plus 50, 550. So your new salary would be $550. And here's another question. So if your car is worth $10,000 and it loses 10% of its value, maybe because you drove it a lot or it has a dent, so it loses 10% of its value, and you want to calculate the price of your car now, what would it be? So let's solve this. We want to find what 10% of 10,000 is. So 10%, we already calculated this. This is equal to 1 over 10, and if we say 1 over 10 times 10,000, that's equal to 10,000 divided by 10, which just means you're left with 1,000, and 1,000 is 10% of 10,000. Okay, so now this means that your car is $1,000 less valuable. How do we solve that? So we would have 10,000 minus 1,000, and your answer would be $9,000. That means your car would now be worth $9,000.
If you found this helpful, make sure you hit subscribe and join our school community for more lessons, practice, and support. The link is in the description below. See you inside.